interest. So what we're seeing is an asynchronous recovery from the crisis. Asynchronous meaning that some countries have recovered already. That's China primarily. Some countries are expected to recover very quickly. That's primarily the US. But other countries are lagging behind. That's many emerging markets and also some of the advanced economies. So China, there were very aggressive health policies that really got the pandemic in check very, very quickly. In the US and other countries, of course, the health policies are slower, but now the vaccines are ramping up and are getting the pandemic under control. And in addition, the economic policies, so monetary, fiscal, and financial sector policies were very timely, very aggressive, and very large.
So can you tell us more on this challenge the emerging markets are facing, especially in terms of what are the policy priorities for them?
Many emerging markets entered the crisis with pre-existing vulnerabilities. So some countries had high sovereign debt to start with. Other countries had high debt in the corporate sector, and yet others had a weak banking system. So it's those three sectors where there's a variety. In the crisis, of course, in many countries, corporate sector support programs would lend to the corporations. Secondly, some of the capital was used in banking systems, so some of the pockets of weaknesses became weaker. And of course, in the sovereign sector, sovereign debt has come up in countries. And so there's a weak tail of banks and there's a weak tail of corporations in many countries. And in some countries, we see there's weakness in all three areas, in the sovereign sector, in the banking sector, and in the corporate sector.
So when do you think we can expect an ease on the current financial stability tensions, if we can call that tensions?
The question is, are we going to get the pandemic into check in the world as a whole? As long as that's not the case, there will be mutations, and mutations could potentially be infectious and might have to trigger renewed vaccine efforts, which is probably easier going forward, but still it could be a drag on economic activity. So this is one pillar. The second question is, how much scarring is there? So are economies going to just bounce back, or is there a change in sectoral composition that means that some sectors are booming while other sectors are lagging behind? And we see a little bit of that, right? I mean, the tech sector is booming in terms of innovations, employment, output, value added, etc.